Danish Pantry, and as I promised maybe 2 videos ago, I am doing a canning project. After work, I came in, as soon as I got in the door, I put the pork back in the oven. It's already been par cooked, I just want to heat it through. I got my broth, it's already been made, heating on the stove. I've done this recipe for you before, and it's in the Ball book of canning and preserving, the all new Ball book. And it's the roasted pork and spicy broth. I'll put a link to the canning book down below, and I'll put what page number it's on. I think it's 282 or something. I've got my 4-quart jars halfway full of water and 3 inches of water in my canner, even though this is the small 10.1. I'll also leave a link for that down in the description. This is my favorite. It's hot, or I'd give it a hug. This is my favorite canner ever, and I've had several. But this is the one I love to go to because I small batch can now, mainly because then I can bring you more canning videos, and you know, I can go through it and rotate through it faster. So I am doing quarts today because I really want I want to be able to, if I want to make a big recipe, I only have to open up a quart, and then I'm saving a lid. Although I am using Tatler lids today, and I think I mentioned that in the prep video. I have all my stuff out on the counter. So as soon as this gets hot, and the meat really only needs to be warm, we're gonna start loading jars and get it in there. And this broth is phenomenal, let me just tell you. And now it's had a time to sit overnight and get even better. All right, let's go over to the counter and keep putting some stuff in some jars. Okay guys, we are ready to get the pork in the spicy broth in our jars. So I've got, my pork is just heated up. It's hot to touch, but I didn't cook it any further. I just heated it up. So it's warm. The hot broth is gonna go over this. It's gonna be fantastic. So on the meat, I'm hoping that I just get the perfect amount. You don't wanna pack this down too much. I wanna leave room for my onions, so maybe, you know, 1.5 inches down there. We'll see. I want as much meat in the jar as possible, but I do want, the broth is totally onion flavored, and you could always add more onions if I don't have room for them. Just saying. So let's see if we can get 4 quarts. And we'll put some more of that. And ooh, some of this got crispy and absolutely delicious. I'm just saying. Let's see. Yeah, maybe we do want to smush it down a little bit because I want as much meat in here as possible, and I'm really hoping that this roast that I did will make just 4. And my hands are clean, just so you know. My hands are clean, and I'll be the one eating this. So I did put hot water from one of the jars over my Tatler lids to heat up the seals, which you do need to do. And so we're getting there. Let's get this done. Oh, I might be just right. Oh my gosh, would that be fantastic? If there's a little bit of pork left, this is just about cooked through. So I will, I'll put it over some, I'll cook it the rest of the way with some rice or something. But we're gonna come really close. And 5 jars to me wouldn't be enough to pull out the big canner. If you know what I mean. I really wanted to just do 4 quarts and have some leftovers, so that's what we're doing. I'm gonna keep my dirty hand over here. Bring over. I do have my paper towel has vinegar on it, even though I'm really not touching the rims of my jar. Oh, look at this, 8-pound pork roast. So you can usually figure 2 pounds per jar, and that's about what we got. So now, because this one's a little light compared to some of these others, I'm gonna borrow from Peter to pay Paul. So we all have enough room, you know, for broth and onion and all that. Yep. I think maybe. Okay, I think we got it even. Even? Steven, let me wash my hands really quick. I've got some soapy water over here, and get that cleaned up. Okay, dry off my hands, and now we are ready. Ooh, are you guys ready for this? It's gonna be so delicious. I wanna make sure you have a good bird's eye view of the broth going in. And we didn't waste any of that pork. So you wanna stir, my broth is over here, you wanna stir it to get any spices, oregano, all that evenly off the bottom. And go ahead with those onions, and I'm probably not gonna be able to do 2 scoops with the onions. We'll get them in there, don't worry. And we're gonna use our debubbler. You want 1 inch of headspace. So let's get our debubbling tool. And that's when, you know, you're gonna get some of that meat and the onions and all that. Oh, look at that. Oh, I'm hoping that we've got the perfect headspace, but nope, we need to take some out. That's okay. I'm gonna take some out. I'm gonna take this piece of meat out and some of this onion, and that should get us just about right. We'll just put the onion right back into the broth. I'm not gonna use that broth for anything else after this. I mean, you could, if you wanted to use it, freeze it and use it for a pork roast, and that would be delicious. Okay. So that jar, I still feel like I got too much. I don't want any meat sticking outside that liquid. So there you go. 2 pieces came out of that. We're gonna wipe the rim of this jar. Boop. And so good. Okay. And then now I need my pinchers to get my my tattler lids. Okay, so you grab yourself a tattler lid. And I put the gaskets on them. So the gasket, that's on there. I already marked it in my pre-canning video right there. I have a Sharpie marker. So you're gonna go ahead and get that lid on there. Center it on there the best you can. And on these are not the easy seals. So you finger tight, back it off 1/4 of an inch so it can vent, so you don't buckle. And we're gonna put this in the canner. Look how beautiful. Oh my gosh, I'm super excited about this. All right, and if I have to pull pork out of any of these other jars, I will, and I'll just cut it up, slice it really thin, and do myself a stir fry. What about that? I'm gonna try not to get so many onions and just focus on the broth and the seasoning. Because, oh my goodness, that's where the money is, right? All right. Thank you guys so much for coming along. And if you like this sort of stuff, I hope you'll hit that thumbs up and the like, you'll hit that like button, and maybe share this on your social media and subscribe. It really helps my channel out, and I can get you directed to all kinds of fun things. And if you see that join button next to the subscribe, I do live chats for members only a couple times a month for now. It may turn into once a week if we get enough interest. And I do giveaways over there, and I give you extra video content now and then. Okay, so I've got a little less than an inch, so I'm gonna just hedge my bet, and literally another 1/2 teaspoon, but everything's under. We're gonna go with the vinegar, wipe that down. Man, that jar is hot. And whoops. Okay, hold on. Don't do that. You gotta get your lid on. There's something wrong with that picture. Okay. So here's my gasket and my lid. And this is the first time these gaskets have been used. Okay, now we put our lid on finger tight, back off 1/4 of an inch. And in the canner or the hot pool or hot tub, it goes. Look how beautiful. The pepper flakes and the onions, yum. All right, this is going in a canner. I'll bring you over there when I'm ready. Okay, so I'm gonna put my canner lid on. My jars are in, all 4 tattlers. And I only took out 2 pieces of meat, so that's perfect. I'll just slice those up and use them in a thing of rice or something. They'll cook the rest of the way. So opposites attract here. We just want to get them snug, but not tightening yet. And yeah, get our canner. Now we can tighten down, and that will equalize where it is on the canner. And I have never had any problems with this. So now we're gonna let it come up. I've already turned my heat up. It's gonna come up and vent from this petcock. And so once a steady stream of steam is coming out of that, and I wanna make sure it doesn't hit my microwave or my cabinets. Once that's coming, we want 10 minutes of that. That's part of the processing time. Don't skip this step. Heating up, all of it's part of the processing time. And then once it comes up, we're gonna put the weight on, and for my altitude, it's 10 pounds of pressure and 11 pounds on the dial gauge. If you didn't have this kind of a regulator, you would do 11 pounds on this dial gauge, but I've got both so I can double check my work. And so check your altitude for your area. I'm almost at sea level. I'm at 242 or something, so super easy. Now we just wait. Once that comes, you know, does the venting for 10 minutes, then I'll put my weight on. As soon as it starts doing its little dance, then I will time it for what? 90 minutes, because that's what it says in the bulk canning book for meat and or beans. Yeah, 90 minutes for quarts. Okay, if it was 1.5 pint jars, you'd still do 90 minutes. If it was pints, you would do 75 minutes. I almost did 1.5 pint jars, but I really didn't feel like I had enough meat, and I didn't. So I'm excited that I just did the quarts. I came so close in the calculations, and as you go, you'll learn that you know, I can tell by looking that was about 4 quarts of meat. So anyway, all right guys, don't forget, hit that subscribe button. All right, let's bring you back. I don't know. I'll bring you back when it's done. And I'm gonna let it come down naturally, but we'll do something in between, and we'll bring you back when we're pulling them out of the canner and we get to see our jars of beauty and how I have to tighten the lids down. I do want to show you that. Okay guys, so it's time. The canner has come down, so it's like 3.5 hours from the time I got home. Okay. This always has a little bit of extra going on. I'm gonna take that off. It's hot. It's hot even. You hear that? That means the pressure is down. The gauge says 0, and I've tapped on it to make sure. And so now I'm gonna wait again. So we're gonna undo the thumb screws, and we're gonna cattywampus. I want this to come down off of pressure and do all the things it needs to do without any rush. So I literally, now I'm gonna let steam out of here and let the canner get equalize and kind of come down without being a big shock. So I'm gonna let this vent, see, and I'll be back. I'm gonna come back in 10 minutes at least, and we'll take them out of the canner up close. Okay guys, so the canner has come down off of pressure, and I'm just gonna take it out and show you what I do with the jars. So two of the jars vented. Why, I don't know, because I regulated the canner really well, but that's okay. So the canner has come down off of pressure. There you go. These are used rings, so you might see a little difference. So now with the Tatler lids, I don't hear any hissing or anything, but I'm gonna tighten them up as tight as I can get it, and that gave a pretty good seal. So we're gonna let that. It's already sucked down, but you can see my headspace is down a little lower than I would like. No problem. All right, so we're gonna get the rest of these out of here. It is going to be delicious. So like this jar, the actual ring oxidized a little bit more. kind of weird around the edge and everything. I don't know why it didn't vent as much, but we'll give that a twist and set it off to the side. So there you go. Beautiful pork, roasted pork and spicy broth, 4 quarts. You got it. I try not to tip my jars when I'm pulling them out of the canner. I would rather, you know, wipe off the lid and do that whole deal. All right, and twist. There you go. There you go. We'll see if these all seal. I will check the jars here in, oh, I don't know, 2 hours. Maybe when I get up. If any of them haven't sealed, they'll go in the refrigerator for tomorrow. Or in the refrigerator, and then I'll, sorry. I'm tired. And I'll use them in a recipe. All right, here we go. 1 more jar. There you go. Nice. All right. So funny. Some of these oxidized around on the lid. Oh well. Still boiling in the jar. All right, guys. We'll see you next time for another delicious recipe, probably using this because this is fantastic. We lost a little bit of headspace on this one, and yeah, not much on the others, but that one, who knows what happens in a canner. All right, guys, we'll see you next time.